Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now the first thing you're thinking, for returning viewers, you're thinking what the hell happened to Matthew's hair? I'm here to tell you, it's not important. What is important is that we're at Tata Steel. It is the Wimbledon of chess. My beard might be gone, but the standard of play has not. We've got some scintillating games to see today. So with that said, let's stop looking at my face and start looking at the chessboard. The first game I've got to show you. Abdusattorov versus Luke Mendoca. I hope I've pronounced all of that correctly. And yesterday, Mendoca had a beautiful position against Vincent Keimer. He was completely winning and made a one-move blunder and lost. So today he'll be looking to bounce back against Nordubek, who had a winning position against Pragg R and unfortunately couldn't convert. So let's have a look then. Nordubek plays e4, and we get a French defense. We get the advanced French, and we get c5. This is the way you play the French defense. We get c3, all mainline theory, knight to c6, knight to f3. Queen comes out, and then we play this very interesting move, this novelty, a move 6 novelty a4. Nordubek said previously he has played like bishop g3 and bishop to g2, this kind of system, which is common in the French, helps propel h4, h5. But he goes for an absolute novelty of move 6 a4. And then we get, in 9 minutes, Mendoca takes the pawn. We get c takes, and the knight comes out. This move looks stupid because it does allow the bishop to take and capture. But this isn't actually that good for white, because you've given up your bishop pair. Yes, this is damaged, but, you know, might actually help black in the long run. So we don't get that. Instead, after knight to h6, we get the bishop coming out to pin the knight. The knight can now jump to f5. And then we get knight to c3. Bishop to e7, trying to maybe trade off the French bishop with, you know, a backwards knight move or a knight forward, and to trade off these bishops. You don't want to do it right away and lose your right to castle. Short castles. a6, takes, the knight retreats. Bishop to e7. Bishop b3. Now, if I give this position, if I were playing this position, now I'm not as good as these players, so asking what I would do in this position is completely irrelevant. But most players here would say, black plays short castles. You can see the evaluation, it's 0.5, it's completely level. Instead, long castles jumps the evaluation up to +2. Because white has started their attack already. Why would you castle into this? The c file is open. My pawn's already here. And ladies and gentlemen, it just goes from bad to worse. Like, Nordubek just brings all his pieces and starts attacking. And inaccuracy. And here, the rook comes in. But there's nothing here. Oh, look at this. Maybe we can start firing haymakers. No, you're not firing haymakers. White is going to defend their king, win a pawn, and we take, trade off some pieces. And this looks fine for black. It's not. It's +5. It's +5. 2 minutes versus 47 minutes. Nordubek absolutely critical. Rook to a1. King comes out. The knight takes a pawn. It gallops into the center, check. We go all the way here, and then after knight comes out, Mendoca resigns and lose back-to-back games. Alright. Now, the next game I want to show you. Oh, I'd already jumped ahead slightly. Harikrishana versus Pragg R. Pragg Ramesh Babu. An all-Indian affair, another one, where they're going to keep coming. I think there's 5 Indians in the field. Yesterday, Pragg survives with the draw, and Harikrishana did defeat Arjun Erigaisi, so he'll be looking for back-to-back wins. He plays e4, and we get a Sicilian defense. Knight to f3, and we get what is called the Rossolimo attack, a Rossolimo Sicilian, with the bishop coming out over there. Knight comes out to f6, and we develop our knights, queen to c7, castles. Knight jumps into the center, it hits the knight, so you've got to retreat the bishop, or you've got to take in the center. We play rook to e1, allowing you... Strange. most positions you would say, oh, he went there to take the bishop. No, we kick the bishop out. Because the bishop's got to make a choice. It's got to go there and get booted, and we're going to go for this. Black is looking for tempi, so the bishop goes back to f1. Knight comes out, and we're just poking pressure, takes, and it's a level position. This is what we've merged in. Obviously, we won't hang our queen. But you can see that the players who had 100 minutes to start, so that's an hour 40, have hardly spent any time up to move 12. And the time doesn't really get spent. I mean, I suppose Harikrishana has spent a couple of minutes, but it's only now, these first few moves now, these last few, that they've really started to think. It's still a balanced position as we keep playing, developing our pieces. White has got this lovely center, but black's done nothing wrong. Yes, their pieces are very passive, sitting here. The knight doesn't really have too many squares to go to, but there's no targets in the black position. Like, you've got to, as white, you've got to do this. You've got to do this to say, all right, I'm going to create targets, I'm going to attack the king. And in doing so, you might hand play to black, as both players bring rooks. And as the time starts to tick, it's going to be who cracks first, who makes a critical mistake first, who makes that one miscalculation. Here's the first step in the wrong direction for Harikrishana. Should not have pushed the pawn. The preferred move of the engine was to just take on f6, which looks absolutely deranged because you've got rook takes f6 and the rook coming over here. Absolutely deranged. Instead, we push the pawn forward, takes, and we take over there. So you are temporarily down a pawn against Pragg. And we offer another one. This looks like a pin. It's not. You can break it. But we trade off the dark squared bishops. And it looks like you might get something. Your rooks are active. This pawn is pinned to the queen. That's why you can't take it. And it looks like you're getting something. You're not getting anything against black. We slowly trade queens. And we take the pawn. Now material balance has been restored. Has it? Takes. Black's up a pawn. They are doubled. They are doubled. That is the one thing in white's favor. And you're going to have to try and convert this endgame, which is going to take a lot of stress. White always has drawing chances. In fact, the engine doesn't think black is that much better. But black is up a pawn. And black doesn't just end up a pawn. We go all the way here. You can't trade rooks because it's losing. Pragg blunders. Check. The rook comes up. A mistake. But not really. Because we get here. And eventually, Pentala Harikrishana ends up down 3 pawns. And in a completely lost position. In what seemed like an innocuous endgame. I said white had chances. White had no chances. When you attack, sometimes you play to win, you also play to lose. And unfortunately, it is a loss for Pentala Harikrishana with the white pieces. A win for Pragg in this all-Indian clash. And we move on to the final game I'm going to show you. And that is because all of the other games ended in draws. There were draws between Max Varmadan and Vincent Keimer. Heartbreaking for Max because the local boy, he was in a completely winning position. Unfortunately, wasn't able to convert. Gukesh, the world champion, not showing his game today, but he did make a draw against Vladimir Fedoseyev. Wei Yi, what's going on with my screen? Sorry about that. Wei Yi makes a draw against Alexei Sarana, and then Anish Giri and Arjun Erigaisi make a draw. So the final game I have to show you is Fabiano Caruana against Jordan van Foreest. So we get d4, d5, knight to f3, e6, and it is going to be a London system from Fabiano Caruana. And just like that, probably a whole bunch of people switched off. But what if I told you, ladies and gentlemen, that this is a decisive game? Someone won in the London system. It might have been white, it might have been black. This is a masterclass in how to play in London. Quite honestly, I've never seen this move before. This move is very strange to me, but obviously the computer doesn't think it's that bad. Obviously, you probably want to go there to attack the bishop like this. This trade of bishops is beneficial for black, but you're not going to do this to open up white's rook. Just the simple dynamics of the position we develop. And this is the London. You develop pieces and then somebody does something stupid. Or neither of you do anything stupid and the game ends on a draw. So Fabiano advances his e-pawn. It was there. It went up one square. You didn't take it. It went up another square. Now this tension between the two bishops is blocked. And black is going to look to consolidate on the king side and just be fine. So we bring the knight in. We move the bishop out the way. We have to retreat our bishop after it gets attacked. Now this move looks a bit stupid because this bishop was no more effective on this file than this file, but maybe you've got pressure. You've got pressure on the queen side. Black's play is going to come on the queen side. White is going to attack on the king side. Black's not going down the queen side. Black has a pawn break in the middle of the board, supported by everything. So we get knight takes, walking directly into a pin, just by the way. Like, you did not need to do that. The queen slides up, we protect the knight though. Now we hit the queen slides over, remove the knight. Still, nobody's done anything stupid, we've traded pieces. You might think that white is up a piece. This piece will fall very shortly. Please don't worry about that, these players are very good. Queen slides over, we take the bishop, and we trade queens. Somebody has to try and win this endgame. White is up a pawn, but very quickly black can double these pawns. That pawn's isolated, that pawn's isolated. Black does have, these two double pawns, but, you could sacrifice them. Don't worry about the fact that white's up a pawn. It was beneficial to Pragg. It was Pragg Tananda. It's maybe going to be beneficial to Fabi. Maybe. He is +1, according to the engine now, as you can see. +1. If that's not completely clear. Rook to b5. And here, Jordan makes a slight mistake. He brings his rook over. Slight inaccuracy by the computer. The preferred choice was to play a6 rather, attacking the rook, and making the rook retreat back down to b3. That was the preferred move. Instead, we got king to f2. So Fabi makes an inaccuracy right back. It's still +1. So both the inaccuracies are neutralized, I suppose. King over. Now it's +2. Rook d6 and another inaccuracy. And you see these are slight inaccuracies. They're not losing the game in one move, but they build up when you play Fabiano Caruana, who makes an inaccuracy by himself. Not completely perfect according to the engine, but still it is +2. White just has so much play. These black pieces have got nothing to do. White's pieces, look at all of this. This is so active. Going to force the pawns down the board, going to create weaknesses and win them. And here the fatal mistake comes, g6. Not what the engine wanted. The engine, it's already pretty bad. It thinks rook a8, knight to e6, which loses a pawn. Just about knight to e6, take. It's like, yeah, we'll have this, but now the rook is active. This rook is active. We're going to get some stuff back. We're going to get stuff back. Instead, we get rook takes, and the pawn here after g6. And you're just not going to stop the pawn from coming up the board. And here, Jordan van Foreest resigns against Fabiano Caruana. Fabulous Fabi. He wins. And we've got a 5-way lead at the top of the standings. It's not relevant right now after 2 rounds. I will keep you updated though. It is a 5-round lead against everybody who's won. So it's Fabiano Caruana. It's Nordbeck Abdusattorov. It's Pragg Tananda. It is Gukesh. And it is... Who else won yesterday? There were 3 winners. Vincent Keimer. Yes. Okay, so there's a 5-way lead there. Not important completely at the moment. And then just as a nice end bit, the standings from the Challengers section. Remember, the winner of the Challengers section will get to automatically qualify for the Master section, which I just covered for you. And there is 7 players on 1.5 points. So that's how that's going. Half the field is on 1.5 points. So not too much happening there. The only maybe breaking news is Faustino, or the 11-year-old, I believe. I might be mistaken in his age. A very young kid has lost 2 for 2 against some super experienced players. Yes, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment about the video, my haircut, the tournament, whether you like me using Lee chess today or not. It was new looks all around. If you stayed this long in the video, chess.com, hair, no hair, subscribe, yes, no, maybe. Let me know in the comments down below.